I remodeled my daughter's bathroom about 5 years ago, and about a month ago, I actually noticed that the toilet was a little wobbly, and I could actually hear the waste pipe kind of making a clangy, banging sound when you sat on the toilet. So I figured I definitely needed to check that out. So as usual, I get to work on a project and I forget to set up my camera. But after I pulled the toilet up, I remembered that I used a wax ring for this toilet 5 years ago. And I can tell you in 2021, do not use the traditional wax rings. They're messy, they're nasty, and they usually always fail. So I'm going to get this cleaned up as best as possible. Please ignore my drippy water supply line. I mean, obviously the shutoff valve isn't doing the best job, but that's a project I'll work on another day. So as I inspected the flange on the toilet, I noticed that it wasn't even screwed into the subfloor. I don't know what I was drinking the day that I put in this flooring and remodeled this bathroom, but obviously that's the reason why I was hearing the waste pipe kind of do some clangy sounds. So I actually bought this bracket to put around the flange to actually give it a little bit more stability to where I could screw in further into the subfloor. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get that fitted. Now, unfortunately, this toilet flange, when it was installed originally, was installed incorrectly by the builder. It should have been turned differently, but I'm just going to work with it the way it is. So I'm going to get these bolts and clamps in and get it dry fitted and then just go from there. So I'm really not worried about the new flange seal failing, and I'll show you what that looks like in a few minutes. But I definitely just want to fill in some spaces with some silicone caulk, just in spaces that, no water, nothing really needs to get into it anyway. So this is a 100% silicone caulking for kitchen and bathroom. I just picked up a small little tube because I knew I didn't need a whole lot, but I'm gonna fill in these spaces here real quick. 그날은 그때처럼 말없이 그냥 날 안아줘 지옥에서 내가 살아남은 건 날 위했던 게 아닌 되려 너를 위한 거란 걸 한다면 주저 말고 please save my life 너 없이 헤쳐왔던 사막 위는 목말라 그러니 어서 빨리 날 잡아줘 너 없는 바다는 결국 사막과 같은 거라. Now that I have the caulk down and all cleaned up, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of screws in the actual flange to get an initial contact with the subfloor. I actually got a really good bite and grip into the subfloor with just those two screws. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just put some more screws in, and I think that it's really going to give me exactly what I need without the black metal bracket. I went ahead and added a couple of more screws through the flange to secure it to the subfloor just to make sure that it was extra tight. Now this blue thing is the flange seal. It's called Better Than Wax, and it's the replacement for a traditional wax ring, and this thing works great. So it comes with this black spacer, and if your flange sits below your flooring, then you would use it, but my flange sits above my flooring, so I don't even need this thing, but it's great. So I've got it all secure and put into place, and it's going to be ready for me to set my toilet on. Now the black thing, I'm just going to clean that up and go ahead and take that back to the store because I actually don't even need it. Before I sit the toilet back in place, I actually need to get rid of this caulk line. So I went and got a flat razor blade, and I'm just going to scrape that along, trying to be very careful not to scratch up my flooring. But it easily just scrapes off that caulking, and I'll get that all up so it'll be nice and clean and ready to go. I need to find the white cover caps. Lord knows what my teenager did with them. I added the tank back on, and you need to make sure that it's level. So I used my long-handled flathead screwdriver and screwed both of the screws on each side of the tank, and used my level to make sure that I have the same amount of pressure on each side so that your tank sits level on your toilet. So even a do-it-yourselfer like me, who's changed out 5 or 6 toilets in my lifetime, sometimes things get missed. So I would highly recommend, if you move into a new house, go ahead and check underneath those toilets because you never know what you might find. Sorry I haven't posted anything in a while, but we're living in some strange times right now between COVID, working from home, and having a virtual student. It's been a little crazy around here, but as a homeowner, there's always something to do, and as always, Black girls can DIY too.